All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to stream. Whoa, my voice totally just cracked there. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? What's the energy? What's the vibe? I'm back. And I'm not alone. And I don't have to pretend that I'm alone this time.
Hello.
Excellent! I was waiting. Hello, how are you?
It works.
It works. Yay! Excellent, marvelous.
Yay.
Excellent, phenomenal. We have Kelsey here. If you were here for the stream where we had an interview with Kelsey. Ooh, spoilers. We have had an interview with Kelsey. She has returned to...
Yes, I'm back.
She is back with helping us crit some artwork. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I realized I didn't ask your pronouns. Is she here okay? Is that
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, wonderful. I just realized, I totally didn't ask. Okay, wonderful, excellent, fantastic. So as the stream title says, guys, we are fixing your backgrounds. I am sleepy, as per usual. So if I sound low energy, then that's why. So we don't need to worry too hard about that. But yes, we'll be fixing your backgrounds. You guys have submitted over the course of like a couple weeks, I believe. And both of us will be critting your artwork. We both chose for 3 pieces each that we thought would be fun to critique, or that we thought we would be able to use our best skill sets towards. Does she sound fine, by the way? Does everybody think she needs to sound? Is she too loud?
Yeah,
Is she too quiet?
How's it sound? It's my
What's
new
the volume
microphone
like?
we're testing out.
Does the sound okay? What's the volume like, y'all?
Yes, please let me know if you want me to change anything. It's sounding good. Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds good. A little quiet? Okay, let me turn her up.
A little quiet? Okay, you can turn it up?
Yes,
okay.
I can. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Oh, that's right. I need to go to... this window. That's correct. There we go. Speak again.
Okay, how's this sound? Testing.
Does that sound a little better? I turned her up a little bit.
I'll try to enunciate. Speak very clearly for you guys.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful, excellent, brilliant. Let's switch back to this then. Wonderful. Okay. Excellent, fantastic. Okay, good. Wonderful. Let's not delay too much longer. But before we get going, I have to say my thing. Because at Wayne Canvas, our mission is to make art education easily accessible to everybody. So join us for free live stream lessons on YouTube every week and level up your skills with our community of art nerds. We are more than just a YouTube channel. We are an online school of illustration and visual storytelling dedicated to helping artists turn their passion into income. Huge shout out to our amazing students and members for supporting our mission. We love seeing your incredible artwork and watching you grow in our classes and weekly critiques. And if you want to dive deeper, join our Discord to access stream notes and demos, exclusive artwork, art challenges, and more free resources to help you improve. Come connect with fellow art nerds and get inspired. Wow. Amazing, excellent,
wow.
Beautiful. Every time that I do that, I want to see how much faster I can do it. I want to see how much
Really good.
Thank you. I want to see how much faster I can do it without like bumping over my own words, which I didn't succeed this time, but that's okay. A speech, thank you. Okay, we're gonna get into it. As I mentioned, Kelsey and I both have picked a piece each. We're gonna kind of lead our way through each one, whichever one we have decided to pick. And we're gonna start with me with this one. We started off here. This is Carl's submission. He submitted. He did mention he said something. Let's see. Where are you? Carl had mentioned that this is the rough background establishing shot for a comic where we open on one of the main locations of this gas station of the last stop, which establishing shot, good. When we have an establishing shot within a comic, whenever we're doing something more comic oriented, we do want to be able to see the full scale of things, which is nice. So I'm glad that, yeah, we can see the gas station. It's right there. Excellent. The number one thing we want, we've already got it. Perfect. The big thing with this, especially with comic work, it's a little bit different. It's kind of a weird in-between to illustration versus animation, where it's like animation, it's like our backgrounds tend to be like more detailed because it's like maybe they're painted and we want to set that sort of establishing thing. With illustrations, they're extremely detailed because usually we want that. It's like a one and done sort of piece, and we want to it's like we want to pack in as much as we can into that one area. Comic work is very similar to that, where it's like we kind of want the establishing shot to be able to set the mood of the area, and we're going to come back to it. It isn't like it is necessarily one and done. We might come back to the setting, but because it is a comic, it isn't necessarily with like maybe like TV backgrounds where it's like we might have the one illustration we'll animate on top of it. With comics, we got to draw this background over and over and over in a bunch of different angles more often than not. And we can't really take a shortcut because you kind of have to work with it and you have to redraw it over and over. So the important thing is to be able to also establish where we are, right? And right now we're kind of feeling a little empty back here, right? It's like we've got a road, we've got the gas station here, and that's fine if we want to keep it nice and empty. But to me, I'm like, this horizon line feels a little bit too close back here. I might actually it's like one thing I might do is I actually might just fill this in, because I'm like, if we have the sky back here, that's fine, but I'm like, I feel as though like if we want to make sure that this kind of feels like a long empty field, it's like I would fill that back in. We don't even need to, because we're looking down on top of this, right? If we have the horizon line back here, then that implies that our vanishing point is somewhere back here, to which then if we did try to sort of like work with that, if we're working with this edge of the building here, our horizon line is actually way back over here. The vanishing point itself is back here instead of it being closer. So this horizon line here doesn't quite make sense. So let's fill that in. With that filled in too, I would also just crop this in. We've got a lot of negative space here we don't necessarily need. The thing that we want to focus on is the gas station, because the establishing shot, again, is meant to tell us where we are, right? And with that, we want to kind of focus in on this gas station. If this is all empty, either we can really exaggerate it and we can like really make it feel empty. It's like we push this all the way out here. Why is this white? I'm like, why are we... I don't like having my secondary white. Let's keep that gray. You can really exaggerate it, right? Ooh, contiguous, isn't it? Really exaggerate it, make it feel really empty, and then we've really got like a roadside thing going on here if we want to like emphasize that empty feeling, or we crop it in, which personally I would crop it in. Whoop. I would crop it in so then it doesn't feel so hollow. Because with establishing shots, if we're thinking for comics, it's like, I like to think in the more, I guess, traditional paneled sense, in which then either if your establishing shot is like a full page spread, then like I would also make sure that the composition is more vertically aligned, but because you've got a very horizontal composition going on right now, I would kind of keep it as like just a large panel instead. Yeah, I would also... You said this was a... Yeah, you said that this is a rough. So that's fine if it's a rough, right? So like I won't even comment on the text because it's a rough, so it doesn't need to be clean just yet. Another thing I'm going to focus on is maybe the color that you're using. Like you want it to be like kind of the last stop. You didn't quite say, yeah, because you didn't mention whether this is daytime or nighttime, but based on where you put what color you put the sky at, I'm assuming that this is some time during the night. For me, all of these colors are just a little bit too bright, especially if we are working with a certain time of night. I would dull these down. I would also lean them towards blue just for a little bit more atmosphere, right? So, because right now we've got this really bright red going on, we've got this really bright green, right? When we want to make colors darker, if we want to give it more atmosphere and we want to make it feel like it's at a certain time of day, we don't want to just take the color at its peak brightness and then just bring it down, right? Because that isn't necessarily how lighting works, right? We want to take into account what, like, color your shadow is, what color your light is, and that helps build on that atmosphere. So if we have, I can just really quickly kind of shift it a little bit. This isn't perfect, this isn't a perfect solution, but you can kind of feel the difference, right? It's like you feel the difference versus this, right? It's like this feels a lot more like it is within shadow. I could even just like, I kind of like this more. It's like if we have that there, and then if we multiply, there we go, right? If we kind of hue shift it a little bit so it's a little bit more leaning as if it is within like shadow, right? This feels more it is within like nighttime, right? It feels more like it is within shadow because we want to, this is a, oh my god, Lord, why can't I think of anything? This is this is a color theory thing. It is called the Chevreul's rule of color interaction, where colors will be drawn and will be perceived differently depending on its context, right? So even though this isn't a perfect red, right? We're thinking like, oh, it's like, oh, Dev, thank you for the 20, appreciate you. Big Snick Boss, thank you for the 20, I appreciate you. But yes, the principle, Chevreul's rule of color interaction, is just that when you are working with color, depending on what the context is, you will be drawing it differently, you will be perceiving it differently, right? So even if I put this onto a different canvas, right, even though this isn't a perfect red, we bring it over here. Oh, my opacity's turned down. Hello? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why. Right? This is like a magenta. By comparison to what you had before, right, this bright red, like that, you bring it off to the side. Yeah, this is red over here, and it looks red over here, but it doesn't look like nighttime, right? Even when we, apply these, like, multiply color layers, right, you can see that it still looks red. You can still tell that this is red, and that's because we have the context of this being nighttime, right? If we bring it off to the side, it's more of a magenta, it's a darker kind of like pink, but because of the context of it being nighttime, it still looks red. Same thing with these lines down here, right? If I bring it off to the side, this is like a green, but because of the context of this being nighttime, it still looks yellow to us, right? And then again, if I take away this multiply, right? It feels more yellow off to the side here, and this is what it looks like in shadow. But again, because of our perception, we can still see it as, like, yellow. Oh, hi, Artie! Right? So we want to keep that in mind when we're working with color, too. We want to think of our atmosphere. We want to think of what is interacting with the color that is just on here. Just because it is darker does not mean that we are just going to shift it down. Just because it is lighter does not mean we're just going to make it lighter. Right? We need to think about what the context of the colors that we have are. We need to think of the context of the surrounding visuals, right? Oh, hi, Faye. I didn't recognize you for that. What happened to your username? Anything to add, Kelsey? Anything else you wanted to bring up with this one?
Yeah, I think those are some great points that I 100% agree with. I'm gonna say I really like the angle. I really think it's really dynamic and really interesting. I think what you can continue doing, because I know you said this is a rough, so I think what you can continue doing is find more references of exactly the kind of place that this is and incorporate those into the piece. Because I know it's a road. I know there's a stop sign, and I think it's really cool that the stop sign is like the sign for this pit stop. I'm assuming it's like a gas station convenience store just from the sign. But I don't really see like gas pumps. I don't see like lights outside for the drivers, lines on the road. Maybe you can have like more personality with like car tire marks on the road, that kind of thing. Maybe there's like a fire hydrant, right? I'm assuming if there's gas, there's got to be something to put it out, right? If there's a fire. So those kind of little details, I think, can make this go even further, and it can make it even more interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely find some more interesting references and incorporate some of those little details into this piece. And then I think it'll take it a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. That visual storytelling. We love that.
Yeah.
Okay, animator. Let's go.
But I think this is a really interesting concept for like even in animation, if we're thinking about backgrounds in animation, I can see this being an establishing shot with a car driving down the road or pulling into this gas station. And then we get into the scene and it's like, oh, maybe they're on some crazy road trip and yeah, this is the last stop. Maybe they don't want to be here. It's dingy, you know, there's random garbage on the floor. Everything is kind of maybe, yeah, pick like less of a bright red. It looks like it's not so freshly painted. It looks like it's decaying, that kind of thing. Maybe there's like old broken down cars beside it, like it's also kind of a car dump. That kind of personality can really take this even further.
Yeah, absolutely. Like give it a little bit, give it pizzazz. Give it some visual interest.
This is a note that I will say to everybody is the detail and the looking for really specific references.
Right.
And I think that you need that constantly. You need a really solid visual library, and you only get that at the beginning from looking at references, going out to your local, like maybe you live near a gas station like this and you can go take pictures of one that you live by. You know, you see something interesting, you take a picture of it, you save it for later. Yeah. I have so many random pictures on my phone of just like interesting leaves. Or like,
real.
Oh, I like the way this light works, and you just take a picture of it, and you just hope maybe we'll use it later. If not,
1,000%.
even just take the act of taking a picture and paying attention, you remember things better as well.
No, 100%. I also have just like random, like I remember I was taking like a nature walk in Nova Scotia. We went to like oh my god, we went to Peggy's Cove. There are just so many random like photos of like I have like the photos of like the full like area, but there's also like there was one point where it was like two rocks connected and there was like a bit of water and like a little bit of grass that was growing from that water, and I was like, this is peak. Like I took like 5 different angle photos. It's so good. Rocks are so hard to draw. Like, so it's
rocks,
good.
Trees, you know, anything that looks kind of interesting, the way a vine is growing on a house.
Yeah.
You know, things that rust is, I love taking pictures of kind of things that have lived a long time.
1,000%. It gives it that like it goes back to that sort of like visual storytelling thing. It's like watching how things decay is part of that, right? It's like so you get to watch. And it tells you
who uses it, how it's being used.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of people that might live here. Yeah.
Yes, 1,000%. Take more pictures. That's the lesson. Take more pictures. References. Take more photos.
And
take
for color, you know, color references too.
Color
if you're
references,
going to do a nighttime, you know, painting, go look at pictures of other people's interpretations of nighttime, because the way that we paint nighttime is not the way it looks, because you can't see anything at night, right? So, well, you can take some pictures, but usually you need to kind of understand photography to take a good picture at nighttime. It's a bit more complicated. So yeah, nighttime can be tricky because there's a lot of different ways you can interpret and paint nighttime. So definitely color references as well.
1,000%. Yeah. 1,000%. All right, everybody. Say thank you to Carl. Say thank you for submitting. You've done a great job. Round of applause for him and his submission. Everybody, big round of applause for being brave and submitting and letting us crit on stream. But okay. Wonderful. Yes, everybody say thank you, Carl. Next one is you, Kelsey. I believe what I have lined up is ethers.
Ethers. Okay.
Yeah, feel free to do something. Oh, yeah. You're crazy. You actually, like, prepped and, like, did
stuff. I did a little.
That's more than me.
This is my first time doing this, so I've got to I gotta try to come up with what I'm gonna say, so I see some
That's
good stuff for you guys.
no, cause see, you're so prepared. I'm like, I've been making the joke for years. I'm like, I work at Wing Canvas because I wing it. I'm like, I just pull up the piece and I look at it and I go, okay, and then I just crit on the spot. I don't think about what I'm gonna say beforehand. I just, it's just what
Oh
I'm
my
just gonna say.
goodness. Okay.
No, you're great. You're great. Okay, the floor is yours. All yours.
Okay,
Go for
so
it.
let's see if I can get a handle of this giant brush. So this is my perspective tip. I'm gonna teach you guys something real fun here.
Shoot.
This is how I get my perspective done. Okay, so I first I should probably take a look at your notes and what you submitted. So I'll just do this. I'll take a look at that first. Where's my cursor? There we are. Okay. Let's see. Here you are. Okay, so this is an attempt at a sci-fi city. It's like kind of cyberpunky. You struggle with adding details to make it look sci-fi, but not too cluttered. Okay. You want to make it feel more lived in. Well, that's kind of what we were just talking about, right? With references and figuring out how things actually work. This is crazy. So I think the first thing I'm going to talk about before I talk about kind of the details, because those come last, like details come last. And I know they're super fun to put in there. And I think you have a lot of really interesting ones that I've been able to pick out here. But I think the first thing that I would talk about is kind of the perspective you've got going on. So I'm just going to this is kind of what I use to roughly put in perspective.
Dang,
And I
you got like a
think
brush for it.
I have a brush for it. I took
Oh,
a class and someone gave this to me, and
so
I love
smart.
it.
That's great.
So let's go back to some regular brushes. There we go. I have so many brushes in my library.
That's how it should be,
So,
though.
oh my
What's
gosh,
the
it's
point if you don't
crazy.
have 5 bajillion? We were talking about this earlier. Like, what's the point if you don't?
So, I also pulled up some references for you. I think that these are kind of what you're going for a little bit. This is from Spider-Verse, of course, like the goat
Of
of
course.
all concept art. And I
Yes.
just think that these angles are really interesting in the composition that these artists have come up with. And you get a lot of, like, you can tell a lot about this place just from these details. I think this is the one that's supposed to be kind of like I actually haven't seen the movie, you guys, so I don't know the name of the city, but I know it's the Indian inspired one,
Yes.
right? So, and here's Amarek, who is a god, I think. Oh my gosh, his work is insane.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is another way to show, like, you can see kind of the details and the color. This one's got more color in it. But I think that the angle that you're going for, you kind of have a lot of different perspective going on. And I think you need to solidify that. And also, Jesse, please let me know time-wise if I go too long.
No,
And
no.
I
You
can...
have you have only been going
Okay.
for 2 minutes. You've got 20.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying. No,
You're good. You're
I
solid.
might get into it. I might get into it. So just,
Yeah, go for
you
it.
can keep track of
Oh my
that.
god, go. Yeah.
So this is how I slap in some just like 3-point perspective here. And let me get my brush. And here's a fun fact about when I paint. I have a sock wrapped around my brush to help my hand. It makes it nice and comfy.
Ah, like a
So,
tattoo artist.
yeah. Exactly. Protect your
Protect your wrist.
hands. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna slap these in. Like, I kind of like how this is angled this way, but like I think your perspective should kind of, like, you kind of got it on this one, but just gonna pick one building that you like the perspective of and go off of that. And then this, see, this will also need its own perspective grid. So I think you just need to really get some perspective grids in here because you've got so many different perspectives happening, which is fine. That's accurate to how things work in real life. But like this would be like this. And then these would kind of be, I kind of like the wires. You've got some cool wires here. Like that. And then this one would kind of be, I really like this kind of building you got. I think that's pretty cool. And I like that you have all these different, like you got some curves and you got some edges. So that's like, I would go through and just kind of like solidify that perspective before you really get into the details. And I think this is okay to have like that kind of that way. Maybe this is also following this perspective. And then this would be, maybe this is a little too much angle. I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head of how this would look. And this goes behind. Okay, but you know what I'm trying to say here. So that's that. I would kind of just go in there and solidify that. Let's just, yeah, that kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. And then with your details, Um, I like kind of what you've got going on. This would kind of be, this is not like the perspective I think would kind of be more like this way, where you wouldn't see the bottom of this. You would see, well, you would see the bottom, you wouldn't see the top of it.
Hmm.
And I kind of wonder what the purpose is. It's not quite, I'm going to remove this so I can see your drawing a bit better. It's interesting. I wonder what the purpose is. It's kind of look like there's hands that are maybe doing something. I think that's kind of interesting. And I can tell you're trying to make it be see-through. So that's kind of interesting. But, you know, when you get into the painting stage, you can kind of add some sheen to that as well. Because right now, the yellow is just really popping. It doesn't really look like it's in shadow. It kind of looks like it's being illuminated. So I would also pay attention to these kind of lines. Like these are pretty easy to just, you know, use like your kind of straight edge and just kind of make that more accurate. Because I think sci-fi, things are going to be metal, things are going to be constructed pretty accurately in terms of like, you know, building. There's probably building codes.
Yeah.
And this kind of looks like it might kind of topple over at any minute. Same with like the underpass here, like this kind of angle here is a little too, I think you wouldn't see that much of it. So just those kind of details where the perspective is just kind of, yeah, like there's a lot of different perspectives happening, and I think you need to go through and figure out what you want the perspective to be. And maybe, you know, I think Clip Studio has some pretty good 3D tools, so maybe you could try to map this out a little bit in 3D because it's so many complicated shapes.
Yeah, Clip even has... Yeah, Clip has a really good tool. It's called the perspective tool, where you can literally like set a vanishing point up to 3, and like your brush can like follow it, and it's like it really helps keep it in check. It's a good like speed up tool. I use it sometimes.
I think that's a great tool. I think that maybe you should try to throw this into Clip Studio if you have that, or get kind of a perspective grid like that, and just, you know, don't make too many complicated perspectives for yourself to start with. Just make it really, really solid, and then you can go in. And I really like how you've got some like laundry in the window. I think with these kind of, I'm assuming these are windows. So what I would also do when you're doing details like this is windows have, you know, like edges to them. So like if this is your window, you're going to have like the window frame. And then you're going to want like to see the inside of that window. And then, you know, whatever kind of paneling you've got, it would be more like that. And then just like details like this, it kind of just feels like you were putting in details, but I don't really know what it adds to the world sometimes. Like I'm not really quite sure what this symbol is. But maybe, you know, if you want to be cyberpunk, it could be like, does cyberpunk have like nuts and bolts, you know? Like,
oh yeah, cyberpunk. It depends on what they're trying to do. Artist in chat, by the way, the sister of the artist is saying that apparently the bottom there, it's like a robot being assembled, like it's being like created.
Oh, very cool. Okay, I really like that. Oh, I see. This is like the dress or like the body, and then here's the head. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
okay,
it's cool. Yeah. I'm so sorry. What was the initial question? It was the.
Oh, just like cyberpunk, like some of the.
Oh yeah,
right?
It depends on what, like, because like you could have like there are different, like if you want like the more junkyard kind of dystopian cyberpunk, then yeah, it's gonna be like really kind of mishmashed, put together sort of deal. Or if it's like more sleek, like very like Stray-esque, like the game, it's like where it's like you kind of have like less sleek robots, very definitely more like junkyard kind of like vibe. Or if you're going like Tron, then that's like sleek, smooth, kind of like cyberpunk. So it's like it depends on what you're kind of going for the aesthetic.
I really like when there's messiness to it and there's like decay. So I really think that you could also push, like once you kind of solidify the perspective, I think you could like, you know, maybe there's some cracks in buildings and stuff, or maybe like some buildings have like paneling that's being held with like some nuts and bolts here, you know, and there's like kind of metal that's been put over top of buildings to help hold things together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would go for it. I kind of like the idea of this. It's kind of like there's like a bridge here, and then this is kind of like almost a mill situation going on. This is a really hard thing to to draw in perspective because it's like circle and 3-point perspective. So I would honestly have to like really think about how I would approach that. But I think the idea is really cool, and it's kind of like maybe this kind of windmill situation is how they power the city. It like makes more electricity happen. I think I would add more. You got a couple pipes going on. I think I would go crazy with pipes. You know, pipes everywhere.
Oh, pipes just make everything like it's like, oh, I need some visual pipe. Yeah, it's like sometimes you're just like, oh, I need more detail here. Pipe. Add a pipe.
So that's is that like, you know, is that a good critique?
Yeah. No, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic.
That sounds helpful. I hope that's helpful to you. I think the main thing, I think I really like the idea that you've got kind of maybe there's a cafe here. You've got some foreign language, you know, it looks like these are arrows pointing to where you can enter. There's some voltage stuff. Maybe this is kind of like a street arcade game. I think that's a really cool idea. And I think there's a lot of storytelling happening here. You know, this is obviously some sort of alien, you know, Star Wars-y, cyberpunk-y kind of symbols happening. I think that's really nice. Yeah. So I think you're getting there. I think like my main sort of summary would be go back to basics a little bit. You know, try to find some resources to get a really solid perspective. And then I think you've got the eye for details here. Maybe look up more references, you know, see what some of these artists are kind of doing to make their worlds feel really lived in. And yeah, I think then you'll be able to develop a really, really interesting piece. And I already think you're on the way there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sick. No, I agree. I agree with everything that you've said. This is so cool. I remember seeing this piece, like, in the submissions, and, like, I didn't pick it, but I was, like, I looked at it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it kind of feels like the Monsters, Inc. end credits.
Oh.
Like with the doors and like the, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it kind of has that sort of like that, oh god, what's the style? Shoot. Anyway, that sort of like era of like the flat but very like decorative kind of like very colorful style. It was very present in like the like almost mid-century kind of like vibe. I love it. I'm loving that kind of like flat, even like if you don't mind me switching back to mine for a second, like even in like the like right here, it's like you kind of this rendering sort of like, because it's I am like, I love saying perfectionism is a poison, and it's like adding that little bit of mess, adding that little bit of humanness to your rendering. It's like coloring a little bit outside the lines, like having your lines be a little messy. It's like that kind of gives it this sort of like lived in feeling. It gives it like a feeling of expression and creativity. And I'm like, I love this, like the way that this is lit. So
I really
nice.
like the color palette you've chosen.
Yes, beautiful.
If you could switch it back to me for a sec, I'm just going to show you maybe how to push some color stuff.
Yeah,
like what
some
I
values.
would do is some value stuff just to make it pop, and you can really see examples of this in the reference images I've got here, where there's sort of the foreground is super dark, and then you've got other kind of, I'm sure if you went through this you could find a lot of really interesting big, medium, small shapes as well. And so I would just take all the stuff that's kind of in the foreground and like that's grouped together, and that can make also a really interesting silhouette for your piece. Because I really think you've got a really interesting stuff in the background with the silhouette of that tower and almost like these bridges and these giant pieces of infrastructure here.
Yeah.
So even just that, like, I always like to do this too. You know,
yeah, check your
back
values.
And forth. Check your values. So I would just, even just like a little thing like that, just darken this stuff in the foreground. It's really dark. And then you can even lighten some of this stuff even more potentially. Would help you out, I think. But I really like your limited use of color. I think it's very restrained. And I also think it's really interesting how you colored the lines to kind of match with if it's hitting the light or not. That's something that I've done shows that have kind of used that style to push, the atmospheric perspective. So I think that's really smart. So yeah,
Yeah.
good job.
It's really cool. Yeah, I love that, like, that composition that gives with that, like, darkness in the front there. It really helps, like, close in on that one section. It makes it, oddly enough, it adds to the cyberpunky feeling, because cyberpunk is, realistically, it is a commentary on like too much infrastructure, like how much is too much, and like because a lot of the time cyberpunk is portrayed as like a dystopia in that way, and like by having those like values, it's like you have that like darker foreground, it really closes in the middle ground, it makes everything feel really tight and really like cropped in and really like harsh, so it's like it really helps give that like, weirdly enough, it helps add to that sort of like infrastructure, that like really tight cyberpunk kind of way of working. But yeah, I agree with that. Like, so
I think it's got a lot. I think there's a lot going on here that's working really well.
Yeah, it's
And
really
then also,
cool.
I just added here, this shape here, this is my last note here.
Yeah.
I would just also pay attention to big, medium, small in terms of your shapes, because there's a lot you can push. And so this building that's kind of right here is pretty much the same size as your building right here. This is also kind of the same size. So if you want to push that, maybe just attach this up here, and this creates a whole new silhouette to kind of focus on what's going on in the middle. So that's just like a little tweak you can do to help the composition a bit.
Super sick. Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah. I'm
Very
like
cool.
the colors are so eye catching. Like I'm like
Yeah, I think now pushing those two buildings into the foreground and making them darker, I think it pushes it even more. And now the blue and the yellow just
Yeah.
you
It,
can
like,
really
pop
know
out
where to
so
look.
much.
I think it really I think it adds a lot.
Yeah. I'm gonna swap to me for a moment. This, like, right here, this robot, it's like that yellow does feel really, really intense. It's like if you kind of messed with this a little bit, you could really easy, because right now it is very, very bright. It is that, like, so you probably swap this a little bit. Like, if you were just to, like, deepen that, and then if you like just desaturated it some more, check that out, and you can already immediately feel
I think
that.
if I was gonna paint that, it would just be clear glass, and then
Yeah.
maybe you could paint like a light kind of shining down on it, and that could be kind of the yellow, but the glass itself would be clear.
I wouldn't mind keeping it like yellow tinted glass personally, but I think that like it's like either or, I think. Well, I mean, if you did keep it perfectly clear, that would help, like keeping it with the like the general like blue that we've going, if we're keeping like the blue in the shadows as well. So it's like there's a couple ways that you could approach it, I think. It's like if you kept
for
this
sure.
if you kept this yellow, it's like as long as you kept it like kind of just relatively dark, like if you just pushed that down, I feel like the darkness doesn't, like, it doesn't feel quite as intrusive there.
Yeah, I think that
It's
helps.
like,
I also think because of this, I think the robot being built is a really cool idea, and we are losing it when you push this into the foreground.
that's
So
true.
maybe if you could fill in the robot in a darker shade of like the blue, and then it could pop out more from, behind the glass.
Yeah, for sure.
Because right now there's no color on the robot. It's also the same light kind of yellow. So I would color the robot to be a darker color.
Yeah, and then you can have like that silhouette be there a little bit stronger. It's like if you just, that's really dark, just let me cook. Have like this little bit there, and then if you just, yeah, it's like if you like emphasize that silhouette a little bit, it's like that could be really
Yes,
cool.
and then there could be like a couple hands that have their own silhouette, so it looks like she's being worked on, or they're being
Yeah.
worked on.
Yeah, that could be really good.
And it's an extra little detail to kind of, once you're kind of finish looking at the main area, the brightness, your eyes will eventually get to those corners and get into those details, and then that's like a really interesting thing to find.
Yeah. Order of focal points. It's like you have like your just because you want your focal point in a specific spot doesn't mean that everything else needs to be empty, right? It's like you give your viewers a lot to look at, give your viewers a lot to perceive, but with your focal points and your compositional like tactics, it helps to kind of like with leading lines and with contrast and stuff like that, you want to kind of lead your viewers' eyes around the canvas and control where they look first, where they look next. So it's like obviously we're looking around here first, because it's like our area of like highest amount of light, and then as we trickle down into deeper and darker, it's like you have different, it's like you're feeding your perception. It's like you're giving them different meals. It's like we're starting with like breakfast, and it's like our most important meal of the day, and then we get to lunch where we look into more of like the shops and like maybe this like powering like thing that's down here, and then we get dinner and dessert where it's like then we look in like the foreground and see all the little extra details that we weren't paying attention to at first, but then we get that like last filling bit, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can really utilize those power lines and like pipes and wires to lead into the different areas. Like everything in these compositions is on purpose. Nothing's an accident, right? So you might just want to throw in some power lines because you think, oh, well, that will look okay, but be really intentional about how you use them to lead eyes around, to avoid tangents, that kind of stuff. Yes, if you look at any sort of piece of art and you're just like even like these here, everything, or you can't see what I'm looking at, but the examples that I gave.
I swapped it back to you. Yeah.
Oh, you swapped it back to me? Okay.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if you're going to follow the compositions here around, it's kind of like you go to the point of highest contrast, but eventually you're going to go here. Oh, it's black. It's kind of like around here, and then you go up the bridge, and you go down, and then, oh, look at all this stuff, you know, and then you go down here, and then this brings you back. And you want it to continuously be in a circle. You don't want anything to take you off the page. Like everything is bringing you back into the page, into a circle. So you never stop looking at the piece of art. That's the goal.
Yeah. Marvelous. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ether, for submitting. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Ether. Round of applause. Thank you for submitting. Thank you for being brave and letting us take a look at your work. It is not easy to submit and show your work to the public. So everybody, round of applause. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you submitting. Okay. In the middle of that, my mom opened my door and handed me some Tim Hortons and left.
Oh my gosh, wonderful.
I have coffee now.
I have a half drunken iced coffee still.
Oh, nice. I am like still kind of like, next one we're doing up is Sage, by the way, is this oh my god, I love this one. Next one we got up here is with Sage. Oh, yes. For those of you who have submitted, I actually forgot to disclose this to you as well. Make sure you're saving all of these files as PSDs, like the ones that you're working on as well. If you have anything on any of them, like if you're writing or anything like that. For those of you after stream, if you have been featured on this stream, feel free to ask admin or one of us, join the Discord, !Discord, ask admin or reach out to us in some way, and we will give these working files to you. So they are all yours, and you can review them after the stream and take a look. And yeah, so get in contact with admin if you are... Create a ticket. Yes, create a ticket on the Discord. Talk to admin, and they will get you in contact with... I'll say it's me. It's like get you in contact with me, and I'll hand over the working files so that you can take a look at them. But okay, wonderful. I saw this one and I was like, all right, now we're cooking with gas. Now this is my alley. This is what we're working with. Sage submitted. Is this? Oh, artist in chat. Artist in chat. I see you. There you are. All right, artist in chat. Sage submitted this one. When I opened this file, I was like, oh yes. I'm like, this is what we're working with. I'm cooking with gas. I love comic line work. I love doing backgrounds for comics because it's, especially with comic work, it's interesting because you need to balance so many different visual elements because it's like you are, it is like a stationary movie, but at the same time it's a different illustration per page, and then per panel, and then you also have to focus on things like text, and you have to focus on that kind of compositional element, so you need to be really careful with that sort of thing. And it can be really, really tough to balance. So I'm here. This is what we're doing. This is the energy. This is the vibe. Sage had mentioned that this is the last page of their mini comic called The Walk, where son and dad go to a meadow and see the beauty of nature, struggle with trying to draw a dynamic background like a meadow and a forest and a mountain range in the distance, which is, it's a toughie. 8, so true. Orders and chat. So backgrounds, like foliage backgrounds within comic work. Sage, you're here. Were you intending on keeping this as lines only, or were you planning on coloring this? Because that will change a little bit of how I might crit this. Because you did say this is the last page, but I don't know if you'd mentioned, because you didn't mention if this was finished. Like if you're planning on coloring this or not. With color, I have deadline of 2 weeks. Okay, fair enough. With color then, no, that's super fair. Back in university, I had a deadline of like a week, and we had to do like a piece. It was just a piece about a composition. He was like, we can do whatever we want, but it's like, you got to focus on your composition and making everything compositional. And I was like, I'm extra. So I was like, what if I just made a full comic? And he was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. Don't do this. I did it in 2 nights, because I am annoying. So I did the whole thing full color. I look back on it now, it sucks, but he really liked it. So it's, that's all that matters. It was 7 pages. But no, the immediate thing that I'm noticing, so if we are doing like backgrounds, if you are planning, you put too many details, that was the first thing I was going to say, that when we are planning on doing stuff with color, we have to be sort of reserved with our line work, right? In ways where if you have too much detail, there's no detail at all, right? And a lot of these, especially these trees that we've got going on in the background, you don't need like the trunks, you don't need all of the individual leaves. Watch this, right? Especially if we are far in the back, the thing that we kind of want to focus on, what brush are you working with? This looks like it is a round. It's a round, your flow is down. So if we are working with like trees in the distance, and you got these kind of going on here, you don't need all those leaves, you don't need all of that. All you generally need is, which brush? Let's try this one. Yeah. All you generally need is just the silhouettes of your trees, right? Keep in like the shape of them, like keep that puffiness. So it's like, yeah, we've got like, these are trees in the distance, but you don't need all of those leaves. Right? You just need like the tree line. Maybe you have a couple trees up front that have like the stems there, but it's like realistically this is so far back. It's like we're not thinking about that, right? You just need the general shape of that. The same thing as we get closer, we'll add more and more detail, but it's like if we're far away, we don't need to see those flowers either, right? It's like you can have some grass here. Maybe you've got like little dots that imply there are flowers there, like maybe bits of like flower meadows, but we only start to really see the flowers the closer up we get, right? This kind of like spot over here, it's like we've got like flowers really visible, but because if we have those flowers, we're thinking about proportioning as well. If we have a tree all the way back here and we see a full flower like this and the tree is like this, think about how big that flower is, bro. Like that's a big flower. So we want to make sure that we are thinking about our proportioning too. If this is a whole tree back here, the flowers are going to be more like that, right? They're going to be really, really tiny. We're not going to be really seeing them much, right? So we want to make sure that we're thinking about our proportioning as well, right? And then as we get closer, they can get bigger and bigger. And as we come a little bit, we create our atmosphere. Right here as well, these tops of these trees, I might just... Because right now, the trees up here too are really close to the edge of our panel. I'm like, I might either fill in the entire area with trees or like just like cut it off closer, because like right now it's feeling really, really close compositionally. So it's like I might just have like a skyline of trees like this. And then I'm assuming these are clouds, so you can have the clouds back here, but just keep them nice and closed in, right? Yeah, because that's a big flower. And same deal right here, right? You've also kind of, a thing that you're focusing on too, because you're so focused on like getting in the detail of each of these trees, you're losing a lot of variety, and you're losing a lot of, what do you call it? You're losing some visual interest, because if you notice, the silhouette of all of these trees together, again, too much detail means there's none at all. Even though you've drawn in all of these leaves, all I'm really seeing is just this, right? This is essentially what it looks like to me, because they all are kind of one note. They all sort of look the same. And you notice how perfectly horizontal this is, right? It doesn't have enough variety, right? So like what we could do instead, right, of like focusing on, like, again, the general, like, instead of focusing on each individual tree, we want to focus on the big picture, right? We want to focus on the silhouette that this group of trees makes, instead of it being just that singular portion, right? So it's like, if we want kind of like a tree line that is a little more interesting, have it have some dips, give it a little bit more visual variety there, right? And again, right, it's like, I'm not drawing individual trees, but you can kind of tell that they're trees, right? It's like I'm not really doing too much. And notice how zoomed out I am as well, right? I'm not focusing on individual trees. I'm focusing on what this entire silhouette looks like from far away, right? And again, it gives us that kind of like visual, it gives the same sort of visual effect, or the visual effect that we want, without focusing too hard on it, right? Too much detail means there's not at all. You need to also leave room for areas of like nothing, right? You need to leave room for areas of nothing, because if you need to leave resting spots for eyes, because if you have too much going on, then there's like, it's like right here as well, right? These trees are really taking over these characters. It's like, I'd really Bob Ross this one, you know? I'm like, you have like a couple happy little trees, but you don't need that many. Like, if you want that kind of, like, tree line back here. I love a big open panel, by the way. And, like, keep that nice and open. I'll give you some examples of how I handle foliage as well, just so you can see. Because I know you said it's, like, this is a bit... Yeah. I know you said that you struggled a bit with, what do you call it? With, like, foliage and making it feel... like natural. And you also said that this was rushed a bit because you only had a 2-week deadline. So I'll show you how you can do a full foliage background in less than 2 weeks. So like you can, because right now it's like we want these guys to be like the main thing that we're looking at, right? And if you've got like all those trees vying for attention behind them, it's not going to do great. So if you just keep, again, Bob Ross it, keep it nice and simple, what these trees look like in the back, keep the general silhouette of them so we can tell that they're still trees, but we're not overexerting their presence, right? They're there to help the composition, they're not there to take it over. These are background elements. These aren't foreground elements, not midground elements. They're not really something that you want to focus too hard on, so you shouldn't put that much time into it, right? And again, still feels like trees. They generally feel like trees, but notice how fast I did that, right? And it is not overtaking our main characters right here, right? Gives us a bit more, gives them a bit more breathing room, gives us more of that time. Your first attempt with nature. That's not too bad for a first attempt with nature. Right. I had to recently, because I did a page where we have like corn walking through some foliage, right? And like the thing with doing like a big foliage background, this is with color as well. A thing with a big let me get the working file for this one actually. The thing with a big foliage background is you're also trying to think about what it's going to look like as an end result, right? And like with this one, I am very line art focused. I am like this is the wrong page. Hello? What page is this on? Oh no. What page is this? This is... Okay, well it's file 13. Okay. Because I named all my stuff wrong. There we go. So, this file... Right, when we are... I'm very line art heavy, so it's like my coloring process is really, really simple. This is like 2 layers. But, the thing that I focus on more is, like, my line art, right? This is... Yeah. So, if I just take away all the color really quickly... Right? This is what the lines are without any of it. Right? And you can feel what I focused on in terms of, like, what I wanted the viewer to focus on. Right? You can see what I decided to give detail versus what I didn't. Right? Everything that's sort of in the foreground, middle ground, anything that is on the same visual plane as the main character here is Corn. This is what I give the most detail to. Right? I picked out some of the leaves here. I picked out some of the grass, and it's like, all of my most detailed elements sort of create a, like, circle of the composition, right? It gives, like, this whole thing gives, like, a framework that surrounds this guy, right? Everything else in the background, look at the lines that I use for these trees, bro. Like, it's like 2 lines. I didn't focus on them at all, right? I'm like, this is not what I'm focusing on. I want to make sure that everything is looking at this guy, right? So I'm like, everything within this comic is used to support this main focal character, right? So what I'm using is everything else sort of like radiates around him. So if I put the color back, right, again, it's like we look back here. Some of these trees don't even have line work, right? It's like we kept them just to lines only. And again, you can see how little attention I paid to it. I didn't zoom in at all. Look how messy this coloring is, bro. But it doesn't matter. You zoom out, looks totally fine, right? Nobody cares. You're not looking at that. Doesn't matter, right? The thing that you want to focus on is your main focal point and your main section of this background, right? So it's like we have some more complicated, like, dappled lighting that's going on the character, and like these leaves up in the front, and there's a little bit back here, but realistically it's not. We don't want to pay attention to back here, so I'm not going to put in the effort, right? That's the that's the big difference with comics versus like an animated background. Is it's like we want to make sure that we are really controlling our viewers' vision, and it's like we are really controlling where we want them to go. So it's like in this case, it's like we could have some visual eye candy back here if we wanted, but realistically that's taking away time from what you could be focusing on, which is like right up here in the front, you know. But yeah, it's like it's like you're doing great. It's like you're right there, right? It's like, cause I love I really sounded like really Matt Pat-esque right there. It's just a game theory, you know. But this is the wrong artist. This like kind of background work, it's like you kind of see the difference now, right? Is like the organization of your line work, the organization of where your detail work is versus like this, right? It's like it's kind of all over the place. There isn't really a spot for your eyes to rest. There isn't really a spot for your eyes to go first. It sort of all feels the same sort of energy, right? So don't waste your time with like being like, oh, it's like I need to make sure every single one of these trees is perfectly oriented. I need to make sure that... No, you don't. Right? And it's the same deal here. It's like you have all of your grass blades and your flowers perfectly evenly spaced. But realistically, this is feeling really cluttered, right? So we want to make sure that we are sort of organizing where things go, like picking and choosing. And this whole background took like 3 hours. So 3 or 4 hours. So just try not to get too focused in on things. In terms of comic stuff, by the way, try and keep your text all the same size. Try and keep it center justified as well, because it gets really hard to read when it's like you have like your bubbles like this, and then you have like super tiny text right here, right? No matter what, you want to keep your text kind of the same size. You want to keep it sort of in the same orientation. When you're working with a comic, your bubbles, treat it like a character. This is not just text that you're going to put on. You don't draw the illustration first and then you put the bubble on later and you think about it, you push it to the side. Your text is a character. Your text is a focal point. It is the first thing your viewers are going to see. And if you're making it difficult for your viewers to read, then you're already kind of failing at a comic, right? So we want to make sure, like, let me pull up a page that has a lot of text on it. Right. Ba-da-da-da. Right. It's like we want to kind of keep our text sort of the same size. We can move it around the composition. We can put it behind characters. We can push it in front, right? But we want to make sure that everything sort of feels like we want to be able to not need to zoom in anywhere. And we don't have to be like, oh, why is this so tiny? Why is this so large, right? And so we want to make sure that it is all nice and readable. I mean, we want to make sure that it's nice and organized, nice in that way. Okay? But yeah. Oh my god, I went on for so dang long. You have any things left? Any other things to add, Kelsey? I'm so sorry. That was the full 20 minutes. I'm so sorry.
I only have one note. Can you send it to me and I'll show you? And I think everything I would have said, you've already said. The only thing I would say is when you talked about how you simplified your background and how that's a comic thing, that's also how we would do it in animation. That's just a compositional thing, I think. Like,
yeah.
Anytime I'm painting a background, you want to draw your attention to the character and their action. The background is a supporting character, not the main character, as much as I wish backgrounds were the main characters. It's not. And, you know, that's just the reality of it. Okay, so this is what I would say. I'm going to circle some things. And I think that these will be getting rid of based on Jessie's feedback, but it kind of... You gotta do tangents.
Oh, tangents! I can see one with the bubble there too.
Everyone
in
panel
4, yeah. So that bubble going against the cloud there, in the.
Which one? Okay.
At the bottom of the, right there, and then like right on the bottom of that panel, like the centered one.
Oh, right here. Oh,
yeah.
So is everyone aware of tangents? Do you guys know why we avoid them and what they are? Because I used to be a tangent. My professor called me the tangent queen at one point because I put in many tangents. It was insane. So listen, this is just something you start to learn how to see, and then eventually you'll notice it right away.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Even I don't even like it when there's a little overlap. Like here, this is too much of a tangent for me, for sure. It looks like he's being stabbed by the cloud. And like if you zoom in, technically there's some space here, but it's not enough. Like to me, when you're at this distance, they go together, and so your eyes just being drawn, you know, all to the wrong spot. Yeah, listen, you don't see tangents until someone points it out to you. You just see them come out. That's because that's how it works. When, you know, this is the stage that you're at, that's just the reality. Everyone goes through these tangent pains. I did, so don't you worry. You'll learn to see them eventually. Just go through your art with a fine-tooth comb, you know, after, and just try to find them yourself and be really diligent. And I like to keep everything decently spaced out if I think it's gonna cause a tangent. Yeah. So that's my only thing is just watch out for tangents. That's all.
Tangents. Tangents are so like I've become like with my own work I've become like a bloodhound for tangents. I'm like every time that I accidentally do a tangent I'm like because I work with characters a lot, so it's like I will like sit there and I'm like, oh shoot, I get really angry about it.
I do tangents still accidentally sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
I did a really line heavy background with it was like a witch's shop and there's like hundreds of objects, and I had to go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that there was no tangents anywhere, which is very difficult. It's very easy to put tangents in accidentally, and you really have to train yourself to see them. So, but yeah, my first thing that I saw when I opened this was one, like I do agree with the trees, and also finding reference for trees and like what kind of forest is this? Is this deciduous, coniferous? Like, what trees do you want? What time of season is it? Like, make things really specific, and then it'll enhance your story. And then, I saw him being stabbed in the heart by a cloud.
Seems like a very soft death.
So.
You know? But okay, yes. Thank you so much, Sage. The phrase "going with a fine-tooth comb," it just means you need to be really specific. Be really, really, like, take a lot of care.
Think of like going through someone's hair with like looking for lice, and you're going through with a little tiny comb. You're looking through every little tiny piece of hair, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, thank you so much for submitting, everybody. Full applause for Sage. Full applause. Thank you so much for submitting. We appreciate you greatly. This takes a lot of a lot of energy and a lot of courage to let your work be critted. Okay, next one that I have up here is IZZY'S, Kelsey, if you would like to swap to that one. Should be the the file name should be, yeah.
Okay. I got it. And I got some wonderful references for you.
My lord, yeah, you're so prepped. It's awesome.
Listen, forests are easy because I love painting forests.
Oh, forests.
And so these are like ready to go. Okay. I have really similar advice on this one, as I've said before, which is to get really specific references. So what I'm seeing right now, and I really like the colors. I really like, I found this Molly McGee background that has really similar kind of pinks, which I think is really interesting in a forest. It's more illustrative. I think it's really pretty. I think you're a little one note with what kind of foliage you're using. I think it's a forest and it's a little too clean. That's like my main critique is it's too clean. Where's the rocks? Where's the puddles? Where's the grass? Where's the dirt? It kind of looks like it's cement. So you can kind of see from these references. So this one, I didn't label these ones, but this is from Molly McGee, the Ghosted Molly McGee, gorgeous backgrounds. And this is like a really illustrative, really graphic, lineless style. And then we've got Over the Garden Wall, my ultimate fave. They've got some beautiful forest backgrounds. This is Amphibia, which I think is the closest to kind of the style you've got going with the kind of gradients. And this is how you can make soft gradients work with foliage, which normally you wouldn't think those two go together, but this just shows like how far you can push a style. And then this is Ghibli.
Of course.
So insanity.
The king. Yeah.
So I think, if I was going to do this, I would look for real life reference as well, not just these animated shows. I think that real life is the ultimate teacher. But if I was going to help you out, let's see. I got I love painting forests with these brushes. I'll show you my favorite brushes. They are from Mike McCain, who did this beautiful painting on Molly McGee. And he has so many really, really cool, brushes that have a lot of texture to them if you're interested in getting more textural. But for your background, let's see. I would start, I also think you don't really have, a clear focal point. I know you're kind of going to look down this path of these, I'm sure there's going to be maybe a person walking down the path or something like that. But you've kind of got something going on here. I really think this purple shadow is interesting. So let me just paint.
Yeah, let's see what their intent was with this.
Oh yeah, let me read that. I totally forgot to read.
It's in the first tab.
Okay, this is the third. Wow, this is the third one you've ever drawn. That's pretty good. I wrote general pointers on how to utilize lighting and balancing color. Make sure some areas aren't unnecessary. Okay, so yeah, you've already kind of pointed out one of the things I talked about a little bit of empty space. So the way to learn about how to curb that is it's finding good reference. I'm gonna keep repeating that. You have to find good reference. This ground, if we're gonna go with the color you picked, I would honestly even just go with brown. And then you can have a little. I'm kind of gonna try not to do a full paint over because that would take a long time. But I'm gonna stick with the soft brush because you've kind of got a soft thing going. But I would really frame this, maybe vignette it a little bit more.
Love a vignette.
Love a vignette. And I like that you kind of got, let's see, you've got kind of pink, purple, and then you've got these yellows. I think these yellows and oranges might be standing out a little bit to me. I think I would take, this. And maybe push it more. Let's see. Oh, empty. Love the hue sat. You can just kind of play around and it is, because this is in the foreground, it should be, if your light is coming from back here and you want this kind of area to be the lightest, you can kind of push the stuff in the foreground darker. I also think okay, let's take a look at your fence. It's a little it kind of just starts and then kind of goes off screen. I wonder if it can continue like down the path. And I think it's also a little bit too straight. Like if this is an old fence that's been sitting here for a long time, you can kind of have it, maybe there's some of the parts of it are like falling down, like kind of to the side like that, right? You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, getting what you're putting down.
Yeah. And then I think you don't need all these like lines in here. I think you can use your texture to kind of create some of,
I love painting wood texture. It's so fun.
Yeah, I think that you can get some really nice stuff. Also, the lighting on this one, it's coming from down here. The lighting, keep it consistent. You don't have to have complicated lighting. You don't have to paint it like, oops. Yeah, I actually like the darker wood here. I think the darker wood's nice. But yeah, you don't need, what was I saying? You don't need to have like realistic lighting, especially because this is so illustrative, and I think you can get away with a lot with this kind of style. So you can kind of just decide, okay, this is the front plane, so this is going to be light, this is going to be a bit light, and this is going to be light. And then just keep it consistent. That's like the main thing. Don't just add extra light sources where they might not exist. But I think taking out some of these lines here, it's kind of the same thing that you said before about too much detail.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at real trees, they don't really have these kind of lines like this. They kind of are more, if you look at over the garden wall, it's kind of got some interesting ones, but there's knots in the trees. There's some really interesting shapes here. Even on these ones, they've got some like holes in the middle, and they're not so like even lines. Like I think if you took the sum of these lines, it'd be kind of the same kind of length all around. So maybe instead you could throw in some like knots in the tree.
Those are my favorite. I love putting in a little hole. Perhaps there's a creature in there.
Yeah, perhaps. There's a creature.
Yeah.
I don't like the stuff that I'm using, so this isn't great, but I think you can understand what I'm saying a bit. And it's kind of a little shiny too, right? So trees aren't shiny for the most part. And maybe I could change the opacity and the flow, and that would help me out. Because I do like painting with a hard brush, but if you want more of like a gradient a little bit, that might help. Also, I'm too zoomed in. It's a mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, and then, well, that's that. I think these all can be, all the ones in the foreground here. My tolerance is too high. And my tolerance is too low. Man,
tolerance.
Do this. Oh my god. Let's see. Okay.
Tolerance, my enemy.
Tolerance, my enemy.
This is so fun. Another Photoshop user. I'm like, oh, this language. I know this language.
Photoshop is unfortunately the industry standard.
Yeah, I'll never defend Adobe, but
I'm never defend Adobe, but
I like the program. Unfortunately,
unfortunately, it's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And I've tried, actually. There was a show I worked on a couple years ago that we painted in Clip Studio. So people do it, right?
Yeah, of course. I have Clip.
I'm dark in this.
Yeah.
Clip is great for comics and stuff, and it had, oh, come on, there we go. It had, it has a really great, like, instead of Photoshop's tolerance, Clip Studio has its own settings for how to like select, and they're awesome.
They're so much better.
They're awesome.
It's like there's so like small things about Photoshop that I do prefer over Clip, which is why it's like it's still my main program as well. But it's like Clip has some really good stuff. It's my backup program for a reason. Like it's still really good.
Yes. Okay. I'm doing a bad job here with this paint over, but like
I think it looks great.
There's a lot to do with What I like to do with backs of trees, like the not backs of trees, but like trees in the distance. I mean, look, you got some really great reference here on how they handle trees in the distance. So you either have one of two decisions. You can either have them be lighter than the back color or darker than the back color, depending on how you're doing things. So it kind of seems like yours, if the front trees are dark, the back trees are going to be light. If the back trees are light, or if the back trees are dark, the front trees are going to be lighter, potentially. So I think back here though, you have some shadow back here coming from this side. So I think I would like have more trees back here.
Yeah.
Just select that color and then just go like a little bit darker. Like even just barely. And I think that use the colors that you've kind of got. And then you'll have like also these trees are getting really crazy thin for how far back it is. I don't think this is that far back, but these trees need to be, all of them need to be kind of like tiny, tiny little sticks. I don't know how this tree's standing up, honestly. It's like really thin.
It's like a truffula tree.
Okay, my
Dr.
photoshop has decided to freeze, so
Oh.
I can't paint anymore.
The joys. The joys.
I can't paint anymore. I had to quit my job.
Oh no, is it crashing?
Okay. No, it just freezes sometimes.
Oh,
But yeah,
no.
It knew we were talking about it, so I'm gonna go and. Okay, am I back yet? Oh.
Oh.
Did we get something? No. See, my brush decided to freeze. It won't let me paint with my brush.
Oh my
so
god.
I'm just. Yeah, I know.
What version is
I don't know
this?
I don't know. What version is this? Okay. I'm gonna
Here.
have to
Also,
fix
if you need to fix your Photoshop,
Yeah,
I'll swap
switch
back
it-
to mine
switch
for a
it over to
second.
You.
Yeah.
Switch it over to you. Yeah, we'll save everything. Okay.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh, the joys. I'll never defend Adobe.
I'll never defend it. I'll never defend it. That thing. It's the industry standard.
It is industry standard.
Okay.
It unfortunately has me in its clutches, so I am.
I think it's because we're doing the stream and I'm doing this, and I have like a good desktop. Like I have a good PC that's supposed to be big, but okay. I think I'm back.
Okay, wonderful. Good to swap back.
Okay, so I'll keep this easy breezy. So the other things that I would do is, it looks like you used a brush to make that foliage, I think. So you can use more brushes that are in the shape of, plants. I have a lot from Mike McCain, and so if I want there to be some like rocks on the ground, I just use this. Come on. I use this like texture brushes, so you can throw in some pebbles, like some texture here, stuff like that. And then what I would also do is I love the grass brush.
Grass brush, my beloved.
Oh, here we go. Oh, the grass. I love the grass brush. So it kind of looks like your green is kind of orange. I would change this green too. This green right here is a little popping. Little. My old supervisor would say it's pinging. It's pinging to me.
Got a couple more minutes before we move on to the next one, by the way.
Okay, a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Devin L. Kurtz's grass brush is always my favorite. I love that
I
one.
got Mike McCain, but Devin has some really great brushes. So, maybe you could have some, let's just do some more grass. You have some, my flow's too low. Get that up there. Like, you shouldn't really be able to see the bottom of a bush. Like, they should be hitting grass or dirt or something. There should be some, like, overlap. So, like, honestly, I would just go in, ooh, some nice grass. Beautiful grass. Throw that in there. Throw that in the background. Like, just have different... If you're going to use foliage brushes, just grab a bunch of different ones. Like, I've got some of these chain ones. And I'm going to show you before I stop, because I think that I didn't have that much time to do like a big draw over that I might have done. I was talking about these skinny trees. That was the last thing I was talking about.
Yes.
So these are too thin. I think it's okay to have variation in tree size. I think that's actually awesome. But I think when you get to the background, the trees in the background aren't actually that small. They're still the same size as the ones in the foreground, but because they're in perspective, they're going to appear smaller. But they should still have some level of variation. They shouldn't all be like that skinny. So just, you know, give her a little more volume.
Little meat on the bones.
Little meat on the bones, yeah. And I would just go crazy with how many you got back here. Like, you really can, like, have a lot of trees overlapping and different, you know, values, and then it will just make it seem like there's more stuff going on back here instead of it just kind of being an empty plane. I also think that your white here is just a little, I think it's a little bright. I think it's a little. I don't have the right brush for that. But I think that the white that you had here, I'll just get rid of this. It's just a little too bright for me, so maybe I would.
I'm sorry, let me check in with chat. Is everything okay? I'm sorry, I just had to reload the page because it gave me the, aw, snap!
No.
You disconnected. Is everything okay? It says that I was still streaming, but I just want to make sure. Any hiccups? Are we okay? Am I here? That's you too. We're good though? Okay, are we good?
Okay, I'm just going to show you, and then I'll be done with this one. I'm going to show you this one background I painted. This is a forest one, and you can kind of see... Not that one. I can't zoom in, but you can see, like, this is the brushes that I'm using now that I use on this one, where you can just see the different, like, there's leaves on the ground. That's like it shows that there might be leaves on the ground. There's a bunch of grass that I'm, you know, just showing that it exists with a couple line strokes. There's a lot of twigs back here, some more trees back here. You can see that there's something going on in the background. It's not just sky. There's twigs and there's other forests. But if it's in the background, you just need to hint at it a little bit. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. You know, with just some, like, indication of light and some indication that it's there. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at with this guy. You just need to indicate a little bit more in the background here. You know, try to look up references for trees, really clear references of what kind of tree you're painting, what kind of forest is this, what season is it in, what kind of bushes would exist in this forest. These seem like very perfectly pruned bushes. Like, forests are messy. They should have puddles on the ground. They should have dirt marks where, you know, animals treaded, that kind of thing. So that's just what I would think about as you continue to make more backgrounds. But I think for your only third ever background, I think this was really successful overall.
Yeah.
So good job to you.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, thank you so much for submitting. Thank you so much to, who was this? Oh my god. Sophia. Nope, that's not Sophia. This was Izzy. Thank you so much to Izzy for submitting. Round of applause. Thank you so much for submitting. Thank you for being brave. Round of applause for Izzy. Claps all around. Claps all around. Wonderful, excellent, brilliant, fantastic. Okay. And all other adjectives. Okay. Next one we've got up is Warda. She submitted this one. Where's Warda? Yeah, there it is. She calls this one In the Belly of the Beast. Appropriate. Correct. Portrays Aki from Chainsaw sitting in a ribcage, struggling with lighting. How do I show enough to make it clear what the background is, but making concealed enough to still feel shocking and scary? Additionally, is the lighting consistent and accurate? Lastly, is the lighting telling the story? I want a man ignorant of the clear danger he's in. Okay, interesting, fantastic. Yeah, In the Belly of the Beast. No way. No, that's kind of crazy. I love this one. It's gross, and I really enjoy that. Dark backgrounds are really complicated because it is like you are working with a lot of values that are kind of hard to organize because you're kind of limiting yourself to a specific range. The hardest thing is, like, what you're saying is, like, I want this to feel like it's like you want it to be clear, but you also want it to feel imposing, and you want it to make it kind of feel surprising where he's in. The thing is that you have made, when you are doing backgrounds, very illustrative backgrounds, the way that I organize it is in two ways, right? You can make a background, you can have either a background with a character in it, or character art that has a background, right? And depending on what you are attempting to do, you will change your focal point. You will change how you like work around with things, depending on what you want the main focus to be. So in this case, the way that you have illustrated it, it's like the other one that I had, like if we think about that page that I pulled up, that comic page that I had before, that one was it leaned a little more on character art that has a background, right? We're focusing more on the character. The background is there to support the character. In this case, you are leaning more on this is a background that has a character in it, in which then we are using the character as a sort of proportioning lever. It's like it tells us how large this space is. It tells us how small the person is. And it gives a sense of scale and it gives a sense of size, right? And in this case, it's like you're doing a good job with that. This is a big guy. Whatever belly this is ginormous. But in that way, you can't really make the background a surprise because we are now focusing on the background as our main focal point. The character is there, and yes, they are technically the focal point, but the background is like its focal point number 2, essentially. So we do need to make this more clear. And biggest way that you can do that, watch this, right? It's kind of crazy. This is the easy way to do it. So you don't have to do too much, right? You just up the contrast a little bit. Bam. And now we have something that's a little more clear. Watch that, right? We've made the we've given it a little more saturation, so it's got a little bit more life. Giving it that slight extra bit of red also kind of makes it feel a little more gross, a little more disgusting. But you can feel that difference, right? This to this. This feels, it's still dark, it's still imposing. We still feel like we are in the belly of the beast and we are still focusing on Aki down here, but it feels a little bit less. Oh, I realized I did this on another layer. I could just do this. It feels a little more alive. It feels a little more alive. We can kind of see everything a little bit better, right? It doesn't feel quite as, like, stuck down there, right? The way that you can make this feel a little more imposing, right, is because now we have opened up the value range a little bit more. Right, let's take another layer. Let's kind of, right? This to this, right? We've opened up the value range a little bit more, the original versus the new, right? We've given ourselves a slightly wider range of values that we can work with, right? Right here is very dull. It's a little bit dark. This one brightens it up a little bit. We have a much wider range of values. We've got brighter brights. We've got lighter darks, actually. But now what we can do is we can take this and we can accentuate the scale now a little bit more. So what we can do as well, because this is now a little bit brighter here, is that we can make this feel a lot more bottomless. We can make this feel a lot more empty, right? And what we can do, right, because notice now, it's really close to the bottom here, but it's giving us more room. So if we kind of make this all the way back here, it's like we make that nice and dark. Emphasize that out there. I also like rendering with a hard brush. I feel like it just gives a better vibe. It has a little more control to me than a soft brush. It's like a soft brush is faster in some cases, but I'm like, I like the texture that a harder edge brush gives, right? You can feel that, right? And it's like we can now have this feel like a gaping tunnel that's going all the way back there, right? It feels a lot more imposing. It feels a little more scary, right? Right? You can feel that difference, right? And so you can see like that, how that kind of makes it feel like it goes on even farther into the background. And that's just by adjusting the values a little bit and then having a much wider range of values to work with. So then we can like push that sort of like feeling like it is going far, far into the back there. Another thing that's like a little bit small, you've got a lot of like really, really simple, you've got a little bit of detail going on in here. Me personally, I wouldn't have added this much detail, I don't think. I think I would have like you've got like like single strands of hair there. I would probably just like clump this all together personally. It's like just emphasize more of the lighting than the actual detail work, right? And in that case too, I would like add some more like harsh lighting to the edges pointing directly upwards. Then we have a little bit more of the silhouette reading down here, right? So then it's like, it really feels a little bit more like this. Actually might be a little too intense. It really feels more like the light is just coming directly down onto this character, right? And then it's like we have more of that like lighting emphasis, and it emphasizes really helps with the character right there. Like helps sort of like feel like a spotlight. But what else do I say about this one? Oh, yes. I did it a little bit just kind of on instinct. I'll explain what I did back here. This, like, this is perspective, right? This is a thing that's going back into the distance, right? You've got it kind of going on up here. You sort of lose it right here. When we are doing anything in perspective, the farther it goes away from us, the more it recedes into space, right? The more it gets smaller, the more it gets tighter and closer together, right? And these sort of spaces, they all sort of are the exact same size and sort of width from each other. It's a little bit picky, but I would remove this one right here, this set of ribs right here, and I would do, right, is like make sure that each of these sort of ribs have like spacing that gets smaller and smaller in between each one, right? So it's like we have like sort of a wider space with these first couple ones here, right? Have another sort of like big one right here. And slowly as they get more and more enclosed, like the spaces between them get smaller and smaller. So then it's like I would move this one a little bit closer here. Right, so then the spaces between each rib gets a little bit smaller each time. This lighting is really cool though. It's like, so then it's like the... Keeping track of where each one is. This one I would move like that a little bit more. It's like you sort of want to keep track of where the entry and exit points for each one are, right? Yeah. Oh, whoops. Right? But it's like, it's that slight, it's very, very slight. This is really nitpicky, but the, like having the ribs be, like there's distance between each one just changes just a little bit. So then it really feels like we're moving back into space a little bit more, right? With more structure than this, because it's... I am perhaps not doing a great job at the actual structure of the ribs themselves, but... Right, you can kind of feel how it is like the spacing sort of emphasizes the perspective a little bit more. Right, and creates like it is going back into space just a little bit more. So make sure that it's like the spacing between each one of these just gets smaller and smaller. So then we have that sort of like perspective moving back into this tunnel, this cavity that we have of like a space, right? See, there's one thing that I'm like, I wanna, as just like a fun suggestion. It isn't necessarily like, oh, it's like you have to do this, but I'm like, because I'm like, he's smoking. It could be cool, because like a thing that you wanted was like, oh, it's like he's unaware, right? And you want to kind of make it feel like he is just completely unaware that where he is. It's like, it could be cool if you did something with like the smoke and like you had it like start from him, and used it almost as like a focal point, so it like goes down into the tunnel somehow, right? And it kind of like leads back down into there. It's almost like it's like a twist that goes back into space, and it's like then your eyes follow that leading line that goes back down. That's you don't have to do that though. I'm like, that's cool. You don't necessarily have to do that. But yeah, you got anything to add? Kelsey?
Oh, there we go. Couldn't find the unmute button. No, I think you got it. Like, I'm not a character artist, but I think there's a really clear spotlight. That's a really great technique that we use in backgrounds to show you where to look. And I think I really like what you did, where I feel like I can really see we're in the belly of the beast. It looks really creepy, and even though it's not necessarily realistic lighting, perhaps, like if you were actually in this scenario, the lighting might look different, but I think it's curated in a way that tells a story really well. And like the mood is really obvious, and I think great art is like a combination of realism and then also what looks good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
sometimes I like to call it fashion versus function. It's
Yes.
like sometimes you're like, okay, well, it's like I want to make sure this anatomy is accurate, and I want to make sure that this background, it's like I want to make sure that all of these things work together, and I want to make sure that it is real to life or whatever. But then sometimes it's like, but what if we had this thing here and it made it cooler? And then you just pick that, right? That's a really common thing within games. It's like video games. Like it's really common with like they'll call it like the video game artist, the video game concept artist artwork. It's like, because video games, especially like with characters, especially, they'll just be like, it's like, yeah, this armor, but what if it was cooler? And then it's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, they kind of like
Yes.
defies gravity, but it's pretty sick though. You know, so it's like you'll have that kind of thing. But yeah, fashion over function. Sometimes you just pick stuff because it just ends up looking better, and it's like it ends up kind of like feeling a little bit better. But you gotta know like how far to push that, and it's also always got to be intentional. It's like if it's not intentional, then it feels like a mistake. So it's like you got to make sure that you're intentionally kind of like pushing stuff. Because intentional messing around with stuff is cool. Unintentional you can kind of tell. It's like it sort of feels like a mistake rather than like it actually being meant to be that way.
Yeah. Commit to your decisions.
Exactly. I just realized something while we were talking. Another thing you could do to make this extra creepy is to make it shiny. So I love me a good horror thing. I love horror. It's the best thing ever. If you want to make this look extra gross, right? I love this sort of soft rendering. Go in with like a hard brush. If you just like give it that little bit of like shine to it, then it automatically feels like just a little bit more disgusting. Because then it's like, oh, these are organs. This is a rib cage. It's like, oh, you know, it's just a little bit more gross. And it gives
If there's a puddle, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, if you got like a puddle down here, ugh, that's awesome. No, I love it. It's like if you kind of had like that little bit of like, and it's like reflecting just like the light that's down there. You kind of had that. That could be sick. That could be awesome. It's like you got a little bit of like highlighting going on these ribs here. It's like if you just like, you know, just highlighted that just a smidge. You know, and it gives it that kind of like grossness. You would do it a little cleaner than that. But yeah, no.
Another thing you could do to make it kind of more realistic is add very like subtle almost like there's holes in this belly, right? There's one hole above Aki. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But you could add like maybe some coming in from the side or other directions just to be like, oh, this has like been shot or something, but just don't make them the central like spotlight.
Yeah.
It would show you that there's other, like maybe this is how the creature died, is by the hole was blown open to it. So there's a couple other little spotlights.
Yeah, it's like,
but they're not the central one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's like if you just like did that kind of magic.
Be pretty cool.
It could be pretty cool, yeah. It's like kind of did that sort of magic. There's like a little bit of that going around. That could be sick. Yeah, that is pretty sweet.
That was my first thought, was like almost you see that kind of look in when like sewage tunnels, right?
Yeah,
grates that are on the surface, so you see multiple different sort of pillars of light coming through from the different entrances into the sewer, and so this gives a sewer kind of vibe to me.
It really does, yeah. Yeah, this could be cool too, because it's like then you're also like it's also, you can also use this as well as like a almost like a tactic for like a leading line. It's like your eyes are slowly going down into the belly of the beast, right? And you kind of got that vibe going on.
Yeah.
It could be sweet.
And then if this was animated or comic, then it would be additional light sources you can use,
Yeah.
right? So if the character's walking down here, then there'd be light for the characters to walk into instead of being totally black.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because then you can like do that sort of magic, and it's like.
And that makes the light that's hitting Aki feel a little bit more realistic to the scene. To be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see. This is a dead creature with, yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And these extra little spotlights are sick. Yeah, that's sweet. That's super cool. You just blur that a little bit. Yeah, and that gives it that little bit of extra like moving down. Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That's yummy. That's sweet. That's sick. I love that.
I
That's
love
hype.
yummy art.
Yeah, that's hype. That's hype. I dig it. I dig it. Ah, I love this stuff. It's so cool. All right. But I love this one. I haven't actually watched Chainsaw Man. I couldn't get into it. I haven't read it either. I tried reading it. I'm sorry for all you Chainsaw Man fans out there. The art, beautiful, delicious. I cannot stand Denji, so I can't watch it nor read it.
I watched the first season at like Christmas time when my whole
Yeah.
family was sick and I was locked in my room, and I liked it. I don't remember anything that happened though.
That's real. No,
I was like, oh, this animation's cool. I really like the intro song. But then I don't know what happened.
No, that's real. I'm like, Chainsaw Man was so like it's visually stunning. I love how like the manga panels are beautiful. The character designs, the creature designs are beautiful. I can't stand Denji. I can't stand the characters. I'm just like I'm so character oriented, and I'm like I can't defend them. But you're allowed to like whatever you want.
Yeah,
You're allowed to like whatever you want. That's the important part. All right. Thank you so much, Warda. Thank you for submitting. This one's beautiful. Thank you for lending us your work for us to crit. This last one is yours, Kelsey.
Yes.
Sophia or Sonia. All right.
Let me just find what you wrote.
Yeah.
Because this one's pretty interesting. I think I got some interesting things to say. I hope.
Yeah. I like
okay,
this
so
one.
this is from diploma work. You're in charge of art and concept art.
Diploma.
Use 3D model to help you out with perspective. How do I improve drawing speed? What should I add or change in my background art for it to have more zest? Something make it more interesting because I consider it visually appealing, but not interesting enough for a viewer to want to stop and look at it for longer. What should I improve in general? At the moment, I feel stagnant in my BG art. Okay, I kind of see what you're saying. I think I love the word zest for
Me too.
describing artwork.
Zest.
And I think that this can get more zesty because I have two major points. One, I think you did a great job. I think overall this is a successful background for your concept art and like establishing a room and perspective, and I think it works with lighting. I also think that there's a lot you can push. And I'm saying that I think
With love.
you can go further, and I think there's a couple little things that are really going to get you to go a long way. Okay, so my first thought with this one, you submitted a couple other backgrounds that I took a look at as well, and I think I did prefer the angles on those ones to this one, like the perspective that you used of the room. And I'm critiquing this one because I think those ones were more successful than this one. My issue with this is I don't know what the staging is supposed to be, because if this is for a film and this is supposed to be an animation background, I don't know what the character, where they're going to walk in from, where they're going to sit, where they're supposed to act. And when we're making animated backgrounds, we're making a stage for someone to come into and walk into. And I think that you just have this whole area here is blocking the couch, so I don't think they're going to go sit there or they'd be blocked by this counter. This kind of feels like if they were sitting here, it kind of feels like they're in the corner a little bit, like they're not quite 1/3 of the way into the screen, they're a little off to the side. And then you've got these giant gourds that are blocking what I would think would be the stage. So those are my main kind of nitpicks with the perspective that you picked. So my solution to that would be, my question first of all would be, what's the character doing and how much action is there? What's supposed to be the focal point? And then I think I would either remove the gourds so then they can come and hang out here, and then maybe change the framing so that this area is like in the 1/3, right? If they're going to be sitting here on the computer, move this over like this, and then they can be sitting here on the computer, and then that would make more sense. The other issue with the gourds here is if I go like this, right? You kind of see that I don't really know also what the focal point is with your values. So what I would do with these gourds, if we're keeping the scene the same with what you've given me.
I love the word gourd.
You want to say jord, but that's not it.
Yeah.
I was thinking fjord. Jord.
Jord.
Let me just, come on. Freaking tolerance. So I'm just gonna mark these out. I'm gonna, usually when things are in the foreground like this, we make them darker. We make the foreground items darker. There's very few instances I can think of off of the top of my head where the foreground items that are this much in the foreground are lighter than the background. I'm sure there's exceptions to every rule, but I think at this point we stick within the established rules that govern most backgrounds. The other thing I'm gonna do is see what this does. We're gonna just lighten this whole area. Maybe let's see if we can get a softer brush up in here.
That's fresh.
I'm gonna see, that's a bit better, I think. You think so, Jessie?
I think it would be
think
cool.
so.
I think it'd be extra cool too. It's like if you have that like lighting section there, you had to match the windows. So then it's almost like you've got that like
Yeah.
actual like and then it's like you have like the lines from
I
the
want to say
windows.
paint in black and white, yeah, like
Yeah.
a little bright, I think.
Yeah, check that out. And then you got like if you like really lighten that like ground,
Yeah.
and then it's like you have like the lines from each pane. So it's like,
Like
you can
honestly, I think
tell.
this whole area, this is like, so you've got like three kind of not zones, I don't know the word for it, but you've got planes, let's say. You've got this, I'm not in black and white still. Okay. You've got this plane, and then you've got this plane. And this is like kind of a whole plane. And then you've kind of got your background plane. And so those should be distinct from each other. I don't even, there we go. So those should be distinct from each other. But right now, like if I removed all the stuff I did and I picked this color, and then I picked this color, they're the same value. And you can see that when I do this too, right? Like this is lighter values than here. So yeah, I would, even this can go darker. Just, you don't need to see the detail. Just go darker if you're going to keep it, and then really lighten up this area. That's one thing I would do. Honestly, I don't even, just lighten it. I don't know. Even if you want like a spotlight effect from here.
Oh yeah, that's
If
sweet.
that's better. And then I would take all this stuff and I would push this stuff back. Again, like this is, what am I doing? I hate that sound. I'm just, because my
okay, stream
assumption is
can't hear
kind
it.
of they're going to be, so what'd you say?
It's okay, stream can't hear it.
Oh, we can't hear it? Okay.
Nah, it's not picking up the audio from your stream.
It was making the bruh, bruh sound.
Yeah, it happens with me. Unfortunately, they can hear mine. They can't hear yours, though.
Okay, well, that's good. Like, honestly, this might even be okay at where you had it, but yeah, I think even that is going to help you out. And then if you want it to be soft here, okay. There,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, that's what I...
Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, so let's turn back to color. And obviously, like, value and color, you need value, but it's going to change the color. Like, right now, this is super saturated to me, this orange and this purple, super saturated. So then you go in and you might desaturate it to, you know, the kind of muted tones that you like the pink's a lot brighter. Okay. That's the main thing I was going to talk about was the staging and then also the use of values. The other thing that I think can make this zestier
Slay.
is your textures and your storytelling within like what's in the room and how you paint it. So right now this kind of feels like a staged home that you'd walk into if you know you're buying a house or you're staying at an Airbnb and everything is put in its place. All the books are lined up in the bookshelf, all the mugs are lined up and everything. But I saw in some of your other views, like you've got some indications of mess and of story, and I want those to be pushed further. So, like, for example, we've got a really cool detail here with the wallpaper kind of coming down and it's going to expose the wood that's underneath it. I will say one little mistake that you have here is you did an overlay for your wallpaper and you can kind of see it on the wall and you wouldn't see that. You know, it's just tiny, tiny, tiny little detail when you zoom in. But it's like maybe the wood underneath it is actually kind of going this way, and then you can kind of paint in a different texture to have with this, right? So you've got like kind of gross wood, plywood, whatever you've got, and it's got its own knots in it, and it's got its personality, that kind of thing. And then I think if you're gonna go in this direction, and also this kind of wood has usually like nails in it, so you can add some nails to that. And then if you're going to continue with this vibe of, you know, an older home that's seen better days and maybe needs some work, take that further. I also think the baseboards, this is little, but I think the baseboards should be big. Bigger baseboards.
Yeah. Just
Like older
adds
home
visual. Yeah,
That's
adds visual
really
interest.
And I think that's
Yeah.
just something when you use a program like Blender, or I don't know what you use for the 3D program, you know, use that as a base. But I also think it's really valuable to draw on top of it, like redraw on top of it, make messier lines. Right now, everything is super straight, right? Like these are all super straight lines. Like, what if you drew on top of it and this bookshelf was like, I don't know, kind of like, ooh, there's some chips in it, you know? And it's not perfect and it's been used and abused. And this isn't like a perfectly straight piece of wood. It's like an old piece of wood that's got some like mess to it. That
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Visual
You
mess.
know?
It makes it feel human.
Visual mess. And like these lines, these are so straight, you know, like just that'll make it look lived in or like, you know, personality a little more interesting, like that kind of thing. And then this fireplace. It looks like no one has ever used this fireplace before. So what I would do, I'm gonna find the right brush for this because I actually worked on a show that had a really disgusting fireplace that we had to paint. And I don't think I have the brush from that show anymore, but use maybe we can use this. Just disgusting. Just charcoal, like,
Yeah, that's it. That's good.
you
That's
know?
yeah.
And then, I mean, some splatter brushes. Just get some splatter brushes. I got some splatter brushes in somewhere. These are my Animaniacs brushes.
Mm.
I didn't use some. We only used a couple brushes for that show, but you know, some splatter, and then you can have um, one here, more kind of because you know that the soot would like come up from the fireplace, and also I think that maybe the inside of this should be darker. Not that dark, but you can have like you can show like okay it's dark. You have some shadow here. That doesn't look good. Never mind. But you know what? That's the vibe. It's like just make it a bit darker back there, and then and then on like stuff like this, you can also use that same kind of brush. Maybe there's some like gross green like mold happening, and you can just
Mold and moss, my best friends.
paint some yeah some weird some like mold up there from there.
You want it to be gross? Mold and moss. When
No,
I look
they're
all
not.
old.
Yeah, and like, because these are like, if that's not the vibe,
I mean,
then you can.
I think it is because the gourds are a little moldy, right? I'm
That's what
assuming
I
that's
thought. That was my vibe. The
yeah.
gourds are
Oh,
moldy. If you want more personality, also like this rug is too perfect. So maybe I'll just go back to a regular brush. Like underneath it, you can be like maybe someone left the house in a hurry, and it's kind of like to be underlined. It's kind of like got some. It's not perfect. Oh, it's because I'm on my opacity. Like maybe someone tripped on it. They keep tripping on it. Everything's really straight. So like maybe add some lopsidedness to the rug. Maybe make it on an angle. Maybe tilt it so it's not perfectly in the same perspective. That would be some advice. Maybe add more crap everywhere. Like maybe this person's kind of a hoarder. They got so many pumpkins that are just dying everywhere. So just do like
it's a gourd house.
the gourd house. There's like pumpkins all over the place. Pumpkins. There's pumpkins over here. There's
They
pumpkins
left in a
over
hurry
here.
during the season.
Maybe exactly. There's pumpkins everywhere. I think these windows should also. This is a nitpick. They just usually windows the way that they work, and this is also where reference will come in handy. Is you've got the window kind of exterior pane, but then they usually have these kind of like interior. I don't know why this is. Oh, it's because I'm on overlay. They usually have like more than just one pane. Like if you go and look at the windows in your house, they probably have like lines here because it'll hold the screen. So just like look at how to make things zestier and feel more realistic. Like look at how things look in your house, how things work in your house, and that'll just make things more realistic. So, add some, and maybe they've got, like sometimes windows have these panes in the middle, that kind of thing, So that just might add a bit more interest. I also noticed that your perspective in most places is like super straight. Right? Like almost perfectly straight. But here there's like an angle, and I don't understand why. I think I know why. I think it's because if you use Blender and you use like a camera angle and you use too wide of a lens, it probably is going to warp the edges. So I would just make that consistent because it kind of looks like the whole house is just like tilting a little bit on one side. So if it's going to be straight, just make it straight. But that's also another reason why I like to freehand these kind of things, because then if everything's a little messy, then it looks cohesive.
Yeah.
But if a couple things are off and everything else is perfect, then you're gonna see it. Like I immediately saw that this wall is like leaning to the side, and I'm like, why is the architecture, like who built this house? But like maybe that's the vibe with the mess, and maybe
the house
the angles are all crazy.
bigger
So
on the inside.
same with the wood. You can add more like knots in it, like that. And maybe there's like nails sticking out. Maybe the couch has like buttons. Like I think I love like couches that go like this. Like
Yeah!
Yeah. Couches that look like this.
It's fun to draw.
They're very fun to draw. And then they've got like buttons in the middle, but then maybe the button is like, coming out, and that's another thing that you can do like that. So maybe I saw in your other angle you have some socks that are draped over the couch, and that's another example of like, mess that I don't think you're fully leaning into. Like I think you just need to dive into the mess, and like maybe they didn't do their laundry and they left and there's laundry everywhere and there's socks everywhere, like if you're gonna do that, maybe there's like 20 blankets or whatever. Like if you're gonna do that, commit to the bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there's dirty underwear or whatever. Maybe it's here too. Maybe there's a sock here, and maybe there's some dirty underpants here,
Yeah.
That's kind of that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, 1000%. It sort of it reminds me of like the. Have you seen any of the episodes of Fiona and Cake? Have you seen any of those?
I know about them, but I haven't seen them.
No? Okay. First of all, it's really good. Second of all, they have like Fiona, like, it's great because it's Adventure Time, but it's for adults now. And, like, they have Fiona, and she, like, lives in, like, a 1-bedroom apartment on her own, and she does not have her life together. And it's, like, you see, this isn't even a spoiler, it's, like, in the first episode. It's, like, you see, like, her apartment, and it is, like, there's rotting food everywhere, her laundry has clearly not been done in months, there's, like, papers, and, like, there are, like, insects and, like, animals, and, like, her plants are dead, and it's, like, it immediately gives you, like, oh, this is, like, a 20-year-old who's lost who's, like, who is, like, going through it, and it's, like, the apartment is a disaster, and it's, like, she opens her fridge, and it's, like, empty except for, like, expired things, and it's, like, well, maybe I could eat this today. Like, it's so, like, it's so lived in, it's so, like, it gives that kind of, like, energy.
My Photoshop froze again.
It did? No! That's okay. We've got like a minute left anyway. I'll swap back to me anyway, just to give you that.
Some of these cobwebs, and I saw you had a cobweb in a different angle, and so I'm like, where else would cobwebs be? They go everywhere. They don't need long to, exist and whatnot. So yeah, I think the zest comes from knowing like the kind of person who lives there. Like, I don't really understand who lives here right now, and because it's got kind of modern furniture, old fireplace, cottagey, modern stools, that kind of thing. So I just think you need to think more about who this person is, do a little bit more character work, and then find more references. I'm going to say that another time. And then I think you're going to make zesty art.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah. Wonderful. Excellent. Yeah, you said like everything that I would say. It's so good. I like extra agree. It's like last point here. I extra agree with like the like it's just better to freehand perspective sometimes, because I'm like I am a proprietor of just freehanding perspective, because it's like if you've got like a few little mistakes, realistically it feels realistic, because like even when you're looking around, like perspective realistically, when you're working with it, it is an artist's organization of the idea. But if we're actually thinking about perspective, it is never that perfect in real life, because it's like each, like our visual perception changes per person. And then it's also like, not every object is going to be perfectly straight up and down. Not everything is going to be perfectly like aligned. It's just our way of organizing it. So by kind of drawing it by eye, instead of like really heavily relying on grids and models and stuff like that, or like intentionally messing up those grids and models a little bit, it gives it that sort of more lived in feeling, like that's a little bit more organic and a little bit more like with what we see on like a day-to-day basis. It's also just more fun, and it's less stressful. It's less stressful.
Where, you get the great thing about, I'm just trying to open it up again, but I think the great thing about using a tool like Blender, and Blender should be a tool, it shouldn't be like a crutch for perspective. I think it's more like, it just gets you there faster, like maybe it's more like taking the highway instead of taking the scenic route. But I think it's a great tool to learn just in general, like people use it all the time in animation, but you should still be able to get to that end product yourself. Blender is just kind of a faster way to do it. And also it can help you, like if you're just starting out and you know what kind of perspective you want, it helps you visualize it. So what you could do is, blender it out really roughly with some blocks, with some, if you're doing it in Clip Studio, grab some assets so you get the perspective, and then try to draw that on your own as best as you can and match it as close as you can. But then you have the sort of reference of, if you need to trace it for a second just to see how close you were, it's a great learning tool.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so much for submitting. Thank you so much for allowing us to take your work and take a look at it. Claps all around. Thank you. And with that, that's our last piece. Thank you all so much for joining. That's 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining Kelsey as well.
Wow. Fast.
Yeah, it really feels fast. It's like the 2 hours feels really short. How do you feel? How was your experience?
Good.
Excellent.
I think, guys, it was my first crit, so
yeah.
I'm sure I'll get better, but I really
you did
enjoyed
great.
seeing people's art.
Yeah.
And Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
Just
wonderful.
Photoshop technical issues.
It happens. I feel like I recognize that like freezing thing. If you close it, you go back, you reopen the file, it should be okay.
Yeah,
Like, I
no,
feel like I
I'm back in
remember.
right now.
Yeah.
But it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to purge, all the cache and whatnot, but Photoshop be Photoshop.
Photoshop.
So,
Yeah. I
but
feel like
yeah,
I
that's
remember that one, that glitch in an earlier Photoshop.
okay,
as well.
maybe it's, I refuse to download like anything beyond 2022 because
Oh!
AI stuff. So,
Okay, yeah.
and actually, my work wouldn't let us use anything post 2022 because of security concerns with the AI
Right.
stuff. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a time.
Yeah, it is a time. You can turn off the AI settings too now. And like they've
Oh, okay.
like, yeah, they've made a thing now where it's like you can opt out of everything and then also turn off the AI itself. Like I haven't.
Oh, okay.
They're like, and recently I've been opening up Photoshop and it's like, you want to try it? And I'm like, no. And I like close the window. I'm like, I'm not gonna. No, leave me alone.
I can do this on my own.
I can do this on my own. This feels like workplace harassment. Leave me alone. But yeah, no, it's I refuse. But yes. If you don't know too much about the studio, yeah, let's do our outros. If you don't know too much about the studio, don't know too much about us, hey, wingcanvas.com. Check out the channel. I just realized I didn't copy your PNG tuber, so it's like your PNG tuber's gonna disappear for a second. Check out the classes that we offer. That's wingcanvas.com. Check out the things that we offer. Check out the things that are going to be coming up. Our fall programs are just ending soon, so if you want to start signing up for winter, which will be happening next year, the beginning of January, then be sure to sign up for those, as our classes will restart next time around. These files, this time around, you guys are not going to be getting any of the JPEGs or anything, but normally at the ends of streams, when we finish a piece, you're going to be checking them out on our Discord. If you check out the Discord, you check out where the files end up being uploaded, but also, hey, it's a pretty cool community, so hang out, come chat, say hi to the other art nerds, submit some work for streams and whatnot. But if you want to, catch some working files, talk to some of the instructors, then you're going to have to become a member, join our Patreon, join our membership, join school. And by doing that, you have access to the private channels, like the members chats. You have access to class recordings. You have access to working files, so on and so forth. So be sure to check out all of those. Next streams, I forgot to check what the next streams are. Let's take a look really quickly. Next stream that you guys are going to be having, it is going to be this Monday. You are going to, oh no, it's not on the channel. Kevin, help! Who's Sunday? Who's Monday? Who's going to be on Monday? I didn't see. You're gonna be with somebody on Monday. Doing something. That's great. Art, yeah. Well, what can I say?
I hope.
I hope. We got doing stylized backgrounds for our characters is gonna be Mondays. Is that Josh or is that? And then I am apparently next week Saturday as well, where I am going to be telling a story in a single illustration. Oh, okay. Oh, it's visual storytelling with me next week, Saturday. Okay! Then look forward to those. We'll have this Monday, you're going to be drawing stylized backgrounds for your characters, and then this coming... It is Josh. Okay, cool. Josh, you're going to be having this coming Monday, and then I will be here next week, Saturday. Alright. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Oh, thank you, Dev, for the $5. Au revoir. Bye-bye.